Hello, hello. I'm your host, Biggie Smoke, here for HRL once again, and we are back in Sao Paulo after just a few mess ups with the setups and lobby. But we will be here and we are ready to go for this race. So let's get it started. So now the grid should be fixed. The DSQ that happened wasn't supposed to happen. I think it was just the game making him DSQ because of something he did, but it wasn't really that bad, nor did it get in anyone's way. And so we are going to just gloss over that. We're fixing that. Everything has been fixed. Jumpstart invalidated. And we are ready for this Grand Prix to get underway. 14 drivers deciding who's going to win. It's going to be a hard one, I feel, and it's going to be hard fought. First 6 laps, a lot of time to figure out who's going to win. Vic, Wick, and Michelle looking like the big threats today, but you never know. It's anyone's race when those lights go out. And so here we are now. 5 red lights on track. And we are racing here in Brazil. What's it going to be? A big mess. AlphaTauri's out. KLMP out of the Grand Prix early on in this one. Safety car is out. And it's an immediate incident with Michelle getting a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Vickwick. And what has happened so early on in this Grand Prix that has caused this? And an interesting start to a Brazilian Grand Prix. Adam Explorer going to end up in P1 after all that mess. Sorry, not Adam Explorer in P1, Michello in P1 after all that mess. A lot of the teams very close to each other, and that is a big mess and a big interesting way to start the Grand Prix. So now, Michello in P1. Leading this one. Vickwick P2, Michello though for 5-second penalty, albeit that'll probably be something he'll appeal to the stewards because I really have no idea what that 5 seconds was even for in the first place. But then again, that's just some of the chaos here that comes in at the start of a Grand Prix. So tire strategy, I guess it's a good time to talk about that right now since there's not much action. So, what does it look like? Most drivers on the medium to hard strategy, probably going to be the preferred one. Vickwick and Adam Explorer starting on the softs. An interesting strategy. They're going to be definitely a bit faster, and the pace offset's going to be there compared to the other cars. But there will be some disadvantages in overall pace come just a few laps in because those soft tires will start to fall off way quicker than you will know. You'll know it because you'll feel those tires really start to come from under you, and they'll really struggle to maintain grip. But the soft to hard strategy could be a valid strategy. Now, if we can get safety cars, then that will help the soft tire runners, say, prolong the life of their tires and possibly try a super fast soft to medium strategy if, and that's a big if, they can hold on to those tires. Now, a two-stopper, I don't know about its viability in Brazil. I think it can be fairly viable, but we'll see. And Vival and PLG, they're going to do the opposite of most. Instead of going medium to hard, they're most likely either going to go hard to medium, or by doing hards, they might be opening up their ability to possibly try and do a big offset and go on to softs at the end, which could get them some positions, but also mess them up. Safety car's already going to be in this lap. I mean, to be fair, the grid's already close together. Hopefully that's not a sign that the safety car is broken, though, because that would be really bad, because I really don't want to restart this again. But I think it's just because the grid's already close together. There really isn't much more reason for the safety car to be out. And now Mugello leading this one. One driver already out, 12 still here to go. Here we go now. Coming across the line real soon. You're going to have the timing line show up real soon. When is Mugello going to gun it? Obviously, no overtakes will be allowed, though, until you cross the start line. But Mugello can gun it at any time if he wants to. And he's going to gun it right now. Sashing now going to be in big attack. Going to try and get Vikwick by surprise. He's going to go side by side. Sashing going to try and move around the outside, side by side. I think Vikwick going to be able to maintain his position, though, and going to be able to maintain faster exit speed. So he's going to be able to get Sashing in the S's. Senna S. And now, Alfio Free Jones just behind the Ferrari, possibly looking for an opportunity to get around himself. And here we go now, Alfio Free Jones looking around the outside. Is he going to get the opportunity? Going to try it around the outside here. He's going to have outside, though, into this section, but he'll have the inside next corner, which may be the opportunity to get the overtake done. Alfio Free Jones, though, is actually going to switch back on him and keep that inside line. And so Alfio Free Jones up into P3. Sashing going to get a little loose there on the curb. Keeps it going, though. Sashing now more so under attack by Tio. Both the Ferraris and McLarens running in a pattern right now. And every other team is very close together in terms of drivers. Vikwick dropping the fastest lap of the race right now to 1:10.778. Tia gonna get around. Sashing both the Ferraris now 3-4, looking really strong here in this one. And to make a little split, Vival gonna get around Adam Explorer there. Sorry, Adam Explorer gonna get ahead of PLG, sorry. Now Sashing and Denying gonna swap positions. Mercedes on the grass there. Crancy going around the outside. On the curb. Gets it done. There you go. Crancy now looking very good there. Gets a nice overtake done. Albeit a little bit on the grass there. Did some slight lawn mowing. But a little grass never hurt a car. Back up to the front, we got Vikwick and Mugello still fighting. Now Mugello clearly has good pace. He's very strong on the mediums, which is something to say. Mugello's pace, very good on the mediums, and he's very fast on them. And he's very good in many ways on the mediums. So that's definitely something to consider. Vikwick, though, I've seen he's pretty good tire conserver, and he can make tires go a little bit longer than most drivers are willing to. So, is that offset going to help him in this one? It's possible. I just don't know if it'll be likely. But again, safety cars, they know a way to throw spanner in the works, especially in a pit strategy that you thought was once set in stone. You may have to make that risky decision, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, though, it's gonna hurt. There's now a little fight here between PLG and Adam Explorer. This is for the final points paying position right now. PLG right on the back end, gonna go side by side. PLG down the inside. It's gonna be a lot faster down the straight. Get that slipstream advantage too. Not bad, as once again the Haas's both get back into their position. And there's been an incident there. Adam Explorer, I think, no, it was Vival into the wall. Big incident, and there's a broken front wing on the track, on the grass. Car broken, so that's going to be an issue for Vival now, as he has to get a pit done, trying to slow down and get himself back in, but he's retired from the session. He's decided the race is already over for him, and he's just going to end it right then and there on the track. So Vikwick into the lead too during that little incident. So now he has the lead right now, but these positions are kind of neutralized for the time being. Again, more tire saving for the soft runners, aka Adam Explorer and Vikwick. So for them, this is exactly what they want. DRS now enabled in this one. And here we go now. So this is where the frets really come from. Because now with DRS enabled, there's 2 DRS zones on this track, both of them fairly long and with a good chance to gain some positions. Michello looked down the inside there. Vikwick going to be a little bit later on the brake zone, keep his position, doing a good job there of keeping his car settled. Michello though, DRS open, might try and send it down the inside here, decides to stay behind, not going to be close enough to make that move work. We've got about 6 cars all very close to each other before the big split at Sashing, who's not going to get passed by Warzin coming through into Sector 2, into the second corner there, through Sector 2. And we got some side-by-side driving. The Alfa Romeo of Adam Explorer going to try and send it around the outside of PLG. We got side-by-side between the Haas and the Alfa Romeos. Alfa Romeo of Adam Explorer going to be able to get the position now. So Sashing just in front of that. We're going to go on board with PLG Global right now. Coming around now, down the inside. Looking at speeds of about 330, I think, would overtake for some cars. He's going to be able to get maybe around 325, but he gets around that car no problem. And now he's got himself in a good spot, P9 at the current moment. Back up to the front now. We got the battle between Michello and Vikwick, trying to leave those cars behind to the 2 Ferraris running tandem, 3-4 for Alfio Jones and Teo. And CK9K going to retire from the session. There's been an incident. Virtual safety car again. We've lost another car. We're down to 10 in this one. And so just when we thought that possibly having less racers would lower the chance of incidents, clearly it has not done much as the full safety car is out now, because I can see that yellow on the map. And it's going to be a chance again for Vikwick to possibly save those softs or even try out a different strategy now. Possibly some drivers may consider it at this point. There's not much to lose now. And yeah, drivers into the pits now. There's going to be a big change in strategies for a lot of these guys. I think everybody into the pits, so there's a change of strategy for literally everybody. Vikwick in, Alfie going to come out, Denine out, Sashing out, Michello out. Michello going to lose a couple positions though in that, down to P4. Vikwick still going to stay out front. Crancy now up in P5, Teo P6, unfortunately with the double stack. Adam Explorer's P7 gains quite a few good positions off of that and a few double stacks too, which were not helping any means for some of these drivers. And so Vikwick up into the lead of this race, or I should say staying in the lead of this race, on, I think, hards now. And there is a possibility now, especially if you're one of the drivers that have changed to hards, that you could theoretically make it to the end of the race. Now, on the other hand, drivers that were already on hards have gone in. This is a bad situation. This could be a good situation, but it could also be an absolute curse in disguise because they're on medium tires. Those tires are, the chance that they're actually going to last, slim to none till the end of the race, unless you're going to be an insane tire or you're hoping on another safety car to pot at some point late race to maybe change to the softs. It's going to be a difficult decision for you to make. And for those hard runners, their strategy has been practically destroyed before this race even really began. So it looks like we'll most likely be restarting this race on lap 11. Drivers on the hards should be able to theoretically keep these hards till the end for the most part. They're going to be pretty damn worn though, so it's going to be a difficult one, especially. I guarantee we'll probably start to see some of the spins and little mistakes come in if we go safety carless for the last about 25 laps, 25, 26 laps, I should say. So theoretically, if everyone is to finish in this one, or get finished in this race, I should say, get to the finish, everybody will bring home points, because there's only 10 drivers, and top 10 positions get points. So for everyone, this is a free points day right now if you're still on track. As long as you don't do anything stupid, you got some points coming your way. Safety car in this lap. Vickwick, the dominant force in this season. 3 race wins. Can he make it 4 today? And now across the line, race has started. D9 in a really good spot, right in between both the Ferrari of Alfie and the Red Bull of Michello. So McLaren in quite the situation, but could very well make some positions here. But he's got to watch out because he's going to go down the inside. Michello going to have to be blocked in. He's basically boxed in right now. So Michello has nowhere for it to go, and unfortunately has to back out. And now, with the 9 holding P3, possibly looking for an opportunity to get around Alfie. Vickwick hoping that Alfie can kind of hold those 2 cars back. If the 9 can hold back Michello too, that gives Vickwick a really good situation to be in. Of course, Michello, losing some positions in the pits due to that 5-second penalty. But the good news for Michello is he can be happy that, well, the time's already been served. He doesn't have to worry about serving it again. So, it's done. What's done is done. He now has to put his head down. He's right behind everyone else. There's really no threats. So he's got a chance, but it definitely is still a frustrating thing nonetheless. This is for Michello. Those 5 seconds could be the difference there, because he could find himself stuck in behind that McLaren and Ferrari for the rest of the race if he can't get by or he struggles to. And for Vickwick, this is exactly what he wants. Because as long as he doesn't have to push the pace too much, and the Ferrari and McLaren are doing a good job at keeping that Red Bull locked in behind, Vickwick, 1, doesn't have to push hard on his hard tires, which means he'll have more life near the end of the Grand Prix, and he can use that extra life to possibly get around. But now you also have to think, too, some of the drivers behind may also be catching on to that strategy and may also be taking their time. After all, F1 tires are volatile. They are taking time bombs once they get over about 60% wear. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to ask about taking time bomb and tires, just ask Sir Angel. He knows a lot about tires blowing, a lot. As DRS now enabled, Alfie Free Jones might be going for the move here. Not going to be able to get it. Teo going to be getting the fastest lap at a 1:10. I think that was an 0.25 or something. Wasn't really paying attention to the top board. I'm more trying to pay attention to this action that we're seeing on track right now. As now Teo, in fact, has joined into this battle. Crancy here too, possibly. Adam Explorer slowing down the guys behind though, and so they have not been able to gain any positions. As you can see, the race is basically split into 2 fields. Sashing though, big far behind. He's about 10 more seconds behind anyone else. And his race kind of falling apart in front of his eyes. But even then, if he just finishes, he still gets that guaranteed point. So there's really no reason to not try and finish this race, because any point can be a difference here, especially in a championship as close as this, to making a difference in terms of your constructors' positions. Those are important to think about as well, because if you already know you're not in that championship battle, there's a very high chance that you can at least try and benefit your team and try and benefit the constructors. Because right now, Denine is running a really good race. He's in P3. That's 15 points up for grabs for him if he can stay in that position. Possibly 16 if he can bring home a fastest lap. And so Denine now holding behind that Ferrari. So he's going to be looking for an opportunity to get by. It's what he's been doing, and I know it's an obvious thing to say, but you can just see by how close he is, he's just not finding those opportunities. Alfie's doing a good job of keeping it close. I mean, Brazil in general is a very difficult track to get around, especially if you're very close. Honestly, it's easier to get around if you're a little bit farther back from the driver in front, because then you at least have a little more time to react and actually think, oh, the driver's going to go here, all right, I'm going to go here. Because it's a narrow track, so the drivers tend to need to find that extra space, and it can be hard to do it when you're directly behind that driver in front. So Alfie Free-Jones really doing everything he can to try and keep up with Vikwick. Vikwick, though, doing a good job, but the question you have to ask, too, is because if he's not gaining as much as I think Alfie should be gaining on the DRS, how much ERS is Vikwick using? Is he overusing his deploy? Is he going to find himself being a sitting duck in a couple laps' time with no ERS? He can afford to lose a race. He can afford to all lose two, and that's barring that he doesn't finish. Almost doesn't finish. But does he want to lose that? No, he does not want to lose a race. The more you can extend that points lead, the better situation you put yourself in the overall championship goal, because that's more races that you can afford to mess up. If you know you're good at a track, you're going to want to win here, because it's better to throw away a race you may not be so good at and have that big championship lead already built up than to, say, end up throwing away a race that you suck, that you are good at, and then have to try and be as good as possible in a race that you may not be so strong, or a track that just may not agree with you, especially in the case that you have a really bad race. And for Vikwick, this is the battle that he has to fight right now with that Ferrari behind. We're going to go on board with Michello right now, who has a good view of this action up front. ERS not looking too good for him right now, though. 11%. It's going to make it very difficult for his race. But he might not be the only one at low ERS. Something tells me Vikwick might be struggling as well. Actually, never mind. Vikwick is not struggling at all. 76% as I've checked. So Vikwick, the best on ERS out of everyone. Denine and Michello, though, very close on ERS. They've been dumping to try and keep up with these two cars in front. For Michello, this race is just not going well. That 5-second penalty did not help him by any matters. And on a track like Brazil, where the dirty air and understeer can hit you like a freight train, it's very difficult to get by. When you lose that opportunity, that buffer to get by, it just becomes absolute hell for the drivers. Now Michello's going to be under attack. Teo down the inside. Is Michello going to lose another position? No, he's not. He's going to be able to defend it. So Michello defends the position just barely. And Crancy now going to get through as Teo has been completely misaligned on the track due to trying to go for that move. And Crancy now in position to possibly give Michello an attack. And Michello can feel it now. He feels that he's falling far behind. He's having to make more defensive moves. He's losing more than he's gaining. And this is now going to be something that might start wearing on his mind. He's going to have to get his head down. He's going to have to try and pull himself together. He knows how difficult this is going to be, but he also knows this is a long race. There's no reason to be too worried if you lose a little bit here. As long as you can stay close enough within the DRS so that by those final laps, you may have it. it may work. And you also got to remember, too, Crancy's on mediums. So in terms of Michello, Crancy is not really running Michello's race. Those medium tire runners, the chance that they actually make it to the finish are very slim to none, and it's going to be very difficult. They're basically relying on a safety car because if they make it to the finish, their tires are going to be done. At least minimum 70% wear, and they're going to be struggling very hard on those tires. That is just battling at its finest. It's all a game of strategy. That's F1. It's honestly, in my opinion, 30% driving skill, a good 70% mental when everyone is this close. When the drivers are this close in a league, it's really like 30% driving skill, 70% mental. I know I just said that, but I want to get you through just how important that really is. It's a mental game. You're doing a lot of stuff behind the wheel of that car. You're managing your brake bias. You're managing your steering. You're managing, of course, your throttle, brake inputs. You're also trying to manage your ERS, trying to make sure that you're not overusing it. You're trying to figure out when you want to use it, what area you want to use it, if you're going to have enough to last this area, that area. Then you have to decide, especially if you're the drivers up front, do I try and slow down the field, try and stay light on my tires? Do I think I can stay ahead in the possibility that I can save my tires till the end and then rock it off in those final laps when everyone else has been attacking me so much that the tires are worn? These are things going through drivers' heads right now, and that's why I always say F1, especially when drivers are close and performance is equal, it's really a 30% skill game, a 70% mental game. You're really just trying to make the driver in front of you or the driver behind you brake so that you don't have to worry about them. If you can do that, you set yourself up in a good position in this race and possibly put yourself into those top spots. So Alfio Free Jones in P2 right now. Michello just struggling to get by that McLaren. He's had a couple looks, though, and he's getting a little more aggressive here. He might have an opportunity here now. It's going to go side by side with Denine. Denine seemingly falling off of pace, maybe messed up the next couple of corners, and Michello's going to be able to get through there. And that's one car out of the way, and there's Michello's patience. He persevered through that. He was in quite the troubled situation just a couple laps ago, almost getting overtaken by two cars possibly. But he finally got past. He's persevered, and that's something he's very good at doing. He's very good at keeping focused and just working through the pressure, even if it seems like it's hopeless. But he's done it now. He's up in a P3. He's in a good spot now, and he's got another chance. His race has been revived. He's no longer stuck behind the McLaren, and the McLaren, unfortunately, has broken. And so for Vic Wick, this is partially a sign to him that he might have to start picking up the pace here in this race. But, of course, he still doesn't want to do it too much because he still has, of course, that Alfio Free Jones barrier. Of course, Alfie is the more threatening in the championship than Michello, but it's still something to consider in this one. I mean, just looking at season 3 alone, last season, Michello did not have the greatest start, but that middle section of the season, he went almost 5 or 6 races, I think, undefeated until someone else finally took a race from him. So he knows at any point Michello could turn on and be very dangerous in this championship, despite his big points deficit at the moment. So lap 21, the Brazilian Grand Prix going by pretty damn quick, which is something I said it would do. It may be a 36-lap track race, but those 36 laps go by quick, especially when you have all this action, all this pulling, all this pushing, and attempts to try and get by. Now, it's been a little quiet in terms of getting by, but there has been a lot of push and pull, and it's been basically a strategy race, and that's basically for the longest point of the race. It's going to be a strategy race. You won't really see those moves made until about lap 30. where the aggression really starts to rise, and drivers are going to be trying to make those moves to get around. So right now, the race is very relaxed. And with Vikwick currently sitting in P1, now, just a little look at the grid and the position changes. 2 drivers up 4 positions, Adam Explorer and PLG. Alfie up free, Denine up free. Something has happened. It's Sashing. He's the biggest loser of the Grand Prix right now. Down 7, virtual safety car now. Something has happened. I think it might have been Sashing. He was the car I saw stopped. So his race just falling apart slowly but surely. And yeah, so this is something to consider. No super big gainers though. 3 and 4 positions seem to be the most. So there's quite a few drivers that could be driver of the day candidates. Alfie Ofri Jones, one of those for sure. 5th to 2nd. Same with Denine, up from 7th to 4th. Sashing now going to get a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC, and his race is just slowly turning in to an absolute nightmare in front of his eyes. Will he retire? Will he be able to hold against that button and just try and finish the race so he can at least guarantee a point for McLaren? Because he might as well just take the opportunity. It sucks. This race has been absolutely demoralizing for him. Forgetting his setup too did not help by any means, but in the end, there's still a team, and even if it's 1 point, that team needs it. As Alfie Ofri Jones down the inside! The move has been made. The Ferrari gets by. Alfie Ofri Jones has finally decided that he is tired of waiting behind that Aston Martin. He wants to get by. He wants to get it done. So Alfie Ofri Jones up into P1 now, makes that move around the Aston Martin. Vikwick, though, trying to make a move here. Alfie blocking that outside line. He knows the danger of the outside line. He could have gone inside there, blocked out Vikwick from going to the inside. Now, of course, that's the normal line, too, so he could have just stayed on the line. But still, it is also a dangerous position, too. It's a very wide corner, so the car outside can hold some more speed in an attempt to overtake you and will have the inside into the second half of the Senna S. So, but of course, that corner then goes into the long sweeper into the DRS straight, where you then could very much see driver, once again, the lead driver take the inside if they were to block the inside line. But just, again, it's an outside line, but you're still going to be side by side. So It's one of those overtaking zones that's very risky, and either way you take it could very well get you the position. And now Alfie under big attack now. Vikwick, really no competition there between the two of them. Vikwick through, up in the P1 now. And by doing this battle too, they're bringing Mugello into this one. The squabble may increase to free drivers. As this battle for the lead is now only between free. As everyone else is kind of fallen behind or just split up a bit. Teo going to set the fastest lap though, 109.409, so Teo proving that he definitely has the race pace in this one. So will those hards last till the end? We're on lap 26 of 36 now. A lot of those hards have been running for at least 16 laps now. Of course, the normal pit window would have been around lap 17, 18 for those medium runners. So the hard tires are going to be running considerably more laps. We're talking about another 7 laps added on to their final run time. Are those hards going to be able to last those extra laps? Or will they start to get caught out by some of the guys that may have decided, you know what, I'm going to pit now and take a chance by two-stopping, possibly being on fresh tires? Could they get caught out? Vikwick seemingly a hell of a lot better, though, at holding these positions, keeping them closed. Alfie is very good, all things considered, and he's very good at the attacking game. But Vikwick is considerably better at the defensive game. And it might be the big difference here in a race like Brazil, where trying to make that overtake is honestly a lot harder than trying to defend. Obviously, if this was about 10, 15 years ago, yeah, Brazil would be an amazing track for overtaking in action. But now it's become a very defensive track, and part of that is due to the width of these cars. Vikwick doing a good job of building himself up a gap, too, to kind of get away from Alfio Free-Jones. And now we're on to the final little bit of this race. 9 laps left. The final quarter has begun. And this race is slowly closing. I think it's going to be a dramatic ending. Mugello, though, still trying to stay close, looking for an opportunity. We're going to go on board with Alfio Free-Jones right now. Just see what that Ferrari's doing. Spinning those wheels hard, though. That's where he's losing that time. He's getting too aggressive on the throttle there, and those hards are struggling to hold up. Has he maybe been doing a little too much trying to keep up with Vikwick? Has he been attacking too hard? Has he been too hard on his tires? It's looking like this could possibly be the situation right now, because just watching him attack, he seems a little too early on the throttle. He's putting a lot of stress on those tires lap after lap. And it's not the same stress that you see coming off of Vikwick's car, where it seems very relaxed and very calculated in terms of the movements that you're watching from the Aston Martin. Alfie also still has a worry too, and that's going to be that Red Bull Mugello. Mugello stayed close the whole time. I mean, I don't know if he's really brought much of a fight right now since, but the question is, has Mugello been light? Has he been very polite to his tires? Is he going to do something right in those final laps, catch right up, and eventually make a big threat for the overtake? Only time will tell. We're on that final 7-lap mark. These are the final laps. This is where, if someone's going to make a move, this is the time to do it. Warzen going to get himself a 3-second time penalty, which more so is going to help the Alfa Romeo of Adam Explorer as well. He's also in a bit of a battle now with that Mercedes as he takes a close look, closing up behind that car. And so now this is going to be important because Adam Explorer, P6 right now, that Alfa Romeo might be looking for a possible overtake on this Mercedes real soon, as the Mercedes just not looking as fast as it should be. Warzen now with also that penalty too, not helping any matters because that penalty very much is going to give Adam that 5th. And considering where that Alfa Romeo started, that's a more than impressive turnout for him, as I think by now he's gone up 7 positions from his start. So Adam, he's been a bit of a workhorse this race, making up those positions slowly but surely, and just really doing a good job of ensuring that he can get as many possible points for Alfa Romeo in this race. And now he might be looking up for his 8th position up. I mean, it will be anyways if he can stay close to that Mercedes. And another thing to consider now is I think Michello has turned on the afterburners. It does look like he's now going for the attack on Alfio Free-Jones real soon. You can see it almost make some contact with the back end of that Ferrari, but he might be going for it now. He's very close, and now he's remaining close. I think he has been playing the light game, and now he's playing the possibility to try and overtake that Ferrari. At least he's hinting at it anyways. I think the Ferrari's just got slightly more pull on the straights, though. And also being a bit close to the Aston Martin, too, gives you an advantage, because he also has that little bit of extra slipstream over Michello. And now 5 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Vikwick looking at some point to get it. Adam Explorer has passed Warzen, too, by the way. Back up to this fight, though. And now, Alfio Free-Jones, Vikwick, Michello. This is the final 5 laps. This is going to decide who is going to win this Grand Prix. Can Vikwick go 3 races unanswered and get a 3rd one in a row? And can he also be a 4-time winner this season? Who will know? Because Vikwick, he's doing very good distance management. He just gets Alfie far enough away that Alfie is not able to catch up enough by the DRS zone. He uses that little bit of ERS deploy in the right spots. Make sure to save a good portion of it too. Michello though, down the inside. Alfio Free-Jones caught out by the Red Bull. And now Michello up into P2. 4 laps left. This fight is heating up. As Adam Explorer now going to pass D9 possibly. They're going side by side. D9 off track. Across. Adam Explorer up into P4. That Alfa Romeo is moving. And now he's up 9 positions from his start. The Alfa Romeo looking like a big threat on track. Warzen going to go for the attack though. Side by side between the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes. And this is a fight that's going on for P4 right now. Is it possible for the Alfa Romeo to possibly bring home 12 points as he now holds the inside line on that Mercedes and looks to be in a good spot in this one? Now he's ahead of that Mercedes. He's got to hold that position though. I say he's got to hold that position, but Warzen isn't really the real threat at the moment. The real threat is the McLaren of the 9, who could very well take that position at any moment's notice. And now into the final 3 laps. Warzin now going to go around the outside, going to steal the position away from Adam Explorer, but now it's important that we go here. 3 laps left. Michello staying very close now. Might have the opportunity to make this overtake stick real soon. And he's got to do it real soon because there's only so much time left. And Alfie too, he's staying very close too. He wants his 2nd place back. He says, I'm more of a championship threat than you, and I'm going to try and prove that to you right now. So Alfie trying to remain very close to that Red Bull because he's also looking to try and get that position back. He wants it back because he knows he's way more of a threat than Michello at the current moment, and he knows that he cannot afford to lose any more points than he may lose in this race if he can't catch up to Vikwick. As once again, Vikwick showing why he's such a good driver, that distance management, always building up about a 6 to 7/10 gap before that DRS zone, and it works every time. It just makes it hard enough on the driver behind to try and get by, and that is what Vic's specialty is. He is a defensive driver to the max. He has decent offense, and he does what needs to be done. He always gets the overtake. He's a good opportunist, but ultimately his real strength is in that distance management, keeping ahead of that car that's behind. He does a very good job at managing the distance, pulling the gap where he needs to pull it, but not overrunning or over-driving his car. And that is just the skill that is always important. But Adam Explorer, something's happened to the Alfa Romeo, and something's happened to the 9 of Warzin too. And as I say that, something has obviously happened to a couple cars, because I just realized, looking back down there, a few positions were lost. But ultimately, that is not the fight we are interested in, because the fight we are interested in is right here, right now, coming through the final big braking zone of the penultimate lap. 1 lap away, Vikwick, Michello, Vikwick. Who is going to win this Grand Prix right now? As again, Vikwick doing the same thing he does every time, the distance management, working out once again for him. Michello, though, might try the aggressive overtake, sends it down the inside, might have a chance. No, he won't. Vikwick going to be able to hold the position. Michello going to try again. He's very close, though, in the DRS zone. It's going to go side by side. Vikwick trying to hold the inside line. Michello might have him around the outside here. Michello does have him. Vikwick now stuck behind. It's going to be a drag race to the finish unless Vikwick can make the move stick. Now Michello still in the position in the final corners. Does Michello have the ability to hold on? Does Vikwick have the aggression? Does he have the strength to try and make that position? Does Alfie have the chance to pass? Vikwick's fallen. He's struggling this lap. He's fallen away from Michello. Vikwick and Alfie now racing side by side. Michello might have done just enough. Michello's done enough. He's done enough. He's coming into the final corners now. Michello steals it away in the final DRS zone. And now, coming around the final bend, it's a drag race between Alfie and Vikwick. Michello wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alfie's going to pass Vikwick. So both the championship threats gain points on Vikwick at the end. But a valiant effort from Vikwick to try and defend that race as much as possible. But in the end, that little mistake there ultimately brought Alfie into this one. A good race nonetheless, though. And Michello, Alfie, Vikwick, nothing to be mad about for all 3 of them. An amazing race. That was quite the bunch of action, and I am I'm impressed with what I saw between the 3 of them. That is, if that is what we have going into the whatever races we have left in the championship, expect me to lose my voice by the next race, because that was awesome. Vikwick losing out to Alfie by 0.009, and Michello stealing the win away in that final corner. What a race. What a race. Michello bringing home a nice 25, and he's finally fixed something that has been waiting for him, and that's called a win. He hasn't had one this season, but here it is now, and it's a hard-fought one. That has got to feel good. Alfio Free Jones also passing Vickwick, so got to be happy himself with that performance to at least get by. And now, Vickwick, third place, was probably wishing for a lot more, but I don't think you can be mad about that. That was quite the battle, and I'm impressed with what we saw. Teo gonna bring home the fastest lap though, and an extra point for Ferrari. And, well, what a race. But even then, Vickwick still leads the championship by a big margin, and he still holds currently the lead in wins at 3. But Mugello now puts a win in his pocket, and is possibly now showing himself to be a possible threat for this championship. It might be revitalizing his championship dreams after what happened. But anyways, the finishing positions are Mugello, Alfie, Vickwick, Crancy, PLG, Teo, Adam, the 9, Wars, and Hisashing making up all the finishers, with CK9K, Duval, and KLMP not scoring any points, being the only ones out of the points in position-wise, and ultimately DNFing. So, that was quite the race here in HRL. I hope you all enjoyed that one. I know I did. And thank you for watching, and we will see you for Round 7 next week. Bye for now.